Your dog just froze in the middle of the living room, ears forward, eyes locked on something you can't see. You looked around. Nothing there. You've probably figured they're just being weird. They're not. There are 15 strange things your dog can see and hear right now that you are completely blind and deaf to. Some of them are happening inside your own house. But the last one on this list isn't about the house. It's about you. And it might be the most important thing your dog has ever tried to show you. Number 1. Your house is screaming and only they can hear it. You're sitting in what feels like a quiet room. No music, no television, total silence. Except for your dog, it's not silent at all. Dogs hear frequencies up to 65,000 hertz. You top out around 20,000, and that number drops with every birthday. That gap means your home is full of sound that doesn't exist for you. Your Wi-Fi router sitting on the shelf, your phone charger plugged into the wall, your television on standby, all of them emit high-frequency tones your dog hears around the clock. They've got 18 muscles in each ear that rotate and aim independently, locking onto sounds whether they want to or not. So that room you think is silent? Your dog has been sitting in a wall of noise this entire time, waiting for it to quiet down. And it never does. What they hear is wild. But what they see through their nose might be even stranger. Scientists didn't even confirm this one until 2020. Number 2. They can see your body heat like a thermal camera. You know your dog's nose is cold and wet. You felt it pressed against your hand 1,000 times. You probably figured that's just how dog noses work. It's more than that. A research team at Lund University in Sweden discovered that the wet, hairless skin on your dog's nose tip works like an infrared thermal sensor. That cold, damp surface can detect the body heat radiating off a living thing from over 5 feet away. No scent needed, just heat, glowing in their awareness like a warm shape in a dark room. They confirmed it with brain scans on 13 dogs. When the dogs were exposed to a warm object about the temperature of a small animal, their left somatosensory cortex lit up. That's the part of the brain that processes physical sensation from the nose. The nose wasn't smelling anything. It was registering heat the way your eyes register light. Only a handful of animals on Earth can do this. Certain pit vipers, vampire bats, and your dog sitting on the couch next to you. Think about that tonight. When your dog presses their cold nose against you in the dark, that's not affection. That's a thermal scan. They've been reading your body heat every single day. And that cold nose? It has to stay cold for the sensor to work. That's not a flaw. That's the design. Number 3. They hear things moving inside your walls. Remember your dog frozen in the living room, staring at an empty wall? This is probably why. A mouse scratching between the drywall, a beetle crawling through an air duct, water shifting through a pipe, the faint hum of electrical wiring behind a light switch. All of these produce sounds well above your hearing range, but perfectly inside your dog's. Their ears can detect sounds 4 times farther away than yours, and in frequency ranges you lost access to before you finished high school. That wall isn't empty. It's alive with noise you'll never hear. Your dog is standing there because something on the other side of it just moved, and they heard every step. Next time they freeze and stare at a spot on the wall, don't laugh it off. Something is in there. They're tracking it in real time. Number 4. They see every frame inside a movement you only see as a blur. You toss a ball across the yard, and somehow your dog is already there when it lands. You chalk it up to reflexes. It's more than that. Dogs process visual information faster than you do. Their eyes refresh at around 80 frames per second. Yours land closer to 60. That difference means your dog is catching detail in motion that your brain just smears together. A tennis ball mid-arc. A bird changing direction. A fly bouncing off the kitchen window. You see movement. They see each frame inside it. This is also why older televisions never held your dog's attention. The screen refreshed too slowly. To them, it looked like a stuttering slideshow. Their eyes were too fast for the technology. Number 5. Something moved behind you, and they already saw it. You're walking your dog, and they suddenly snap their attention to something behind you. You spin around. Nothing. Or maybe a jogger 50 yards back. You didn't see them. Your dog did, without ever turning around. A dog's visual field stretches between 240 and 250 degrees. Yours covers about 180. That extra 70 degrees wraps around toward the back of their skull, giving them near complete surround awareness. Every person passing on the edge of a sidewalk, every squirrel darting along a fence line, every car pulling into a driveway 2 houses down, your dog registers all of it in real time while you're focused on whatever is directly ahead of you. The world sneaks up on you. It doesn't sneak up on them. Number 6. They see a hidden world painted in ultraviolet light. You've probably been told that dogs see in black and white. That's wrong. Dogs see blues, yellows, and shades of grey. But here's what almost nobody knows. They can also see ultraviolet light, an entire band of the spectrum that your eyes were built to filter out. Their lenses transmit ultraviolet light down to around 335 nanometers. Yours stop at 400. That gap changes everything. Ultraviolet light reveals biological traces on surfaces that look perfectly clean to you. Old urine markings on a fire hydrant, dried saliva on the sidewalk. The fur of small rodents literally glows under UV. To your dog, every walk is a lit-up message board, covered in information left by every animal that passed through. I walked my dog past the same route for months before I understood this. Every time he stopped at that one spot on the fence, I'd pull him along and say, "There's nothing there." There was. I just couldn't see it. Tonight, when your dog freezes on a walk and locks onto something invisible, you'll know what they're seeing, a message painted in light you were never meant to detect. And later on this list, you'll find out what happens when all of these abilities are focused on the same person at once. Number 7. They watch you walk around in the dark. You get up at 2 in the morning for water. You're shuffling through the hallway, hands out in front of you, bumping into the doorframe. Meanwhile, your dog is already sitting in the kitchen doorway, watching you, seeing every step clearly. Behind their retina sits a reflective layer called the tapetum lucidum. It bounces incoming light back through the eye a second time, giving their retina 2 chances to process the same photon. It's the reason their eyes glow in photographs. Combined with a retina loaded with rod cells designed for motion detection in low light, your dog sees clearly in conditions 6 times dimmer than what your eyes require. That dark hallway at midnight? To your dog, it's a well-lit room. They're watching you stumble around in what looks to them like early evening. Number 8. The lights in your house are strobing, and only they can see it. Have you ever seen your dog avoid one room, but seem perfectly fine in every other part of the house? Maybe they won't settle in the kitchen. Maybe they keep leaving the bathroom. You couldn't figure out what was different. It might be the lighting. Fluorescent bulbs and certain LED fixtures cycle on and off at a rate your brain smooths into steady light. But your dog's faster visual processing catches the gaps. What looks like a solid glow to you can look like a rapid strobe to them, pulsing dozens of times per second. You can't see it, you can't hear it, but your dog is sitting in it. And if they keep leaving that one room, the answer might be hanging from the ceiling. If you're learning things about your dog right now that you've never heard anywhere else, subscribe. We do this every single week, and we're just past halfway. Number 9. They can see whether you meant to do something or not. A 2021 study at the University of Göttingen tested whether dogs could tell the difference between a person who accidentally dropped a treat versus a person who deliberately withheld it. Same outcome for the dog, no treat either way. But the dogs responded completely differently. When the person seemed to fumble the treat on accident, the dogs waited patiently, calm, still engaged. When the person pulled the treat back on purpose, the dogs gave up faster, showed visible frustration, and were less interested in trying again. The dogs saw more than the outcome, they read the reason behind it. That kind of intent reading was once considered exclusive to great apes. Your dog does it every time you fake throw a ball. Number 10. They hear the weather shift while the sky is still blue. Last winter, your dog started pacing around the house, whining at the door, jumping on and off the couch. You couldn't figure out what was wrong. An hour later, the sky went dark and the wind picked up. Dogs hear infrasound, which means vibrations below 20 Hz, from weather disturbances still hundreds of miles away. That deep rumble you eventually feel in your chest when thunder hits? Your dog was hearing it as a low hum while you were still standing in sunshine. They weren't being dramatic. They were listening to something your ears can't access. Number 11. They hear the earth cracking before you feel it move. When rock fractures deep underground, the grinding sends out fast-moving seismic waves and low-frequency sound that travels ahead of the destructive shaking. You won't hear any of it. Your dog will. Their ears pick up the deep geological grinding that precedes an earthquake, and their paw pads register micro-vibrations that pass right through floors and foundations without you noticing a thing. In a 2013 review published in the International Journal of Environmental Research, scientists analysing animal behaviour data from major seismic events found consistent patterns of dogs whining, pacing, and bolting for exits minutes ahead of the primary tremor hitting the surface. If your dog suddenly stands up, stiffens, and refuses to settle, they might be hearing something shifting underneath you both. Number 12. They carry a compass in their eyes. You've watched your dog circle 3 or 4 times before going to the bathroom outside. You figured they were just picking the right spot. There's something else going on. Researchers at the Czech University of Life Sciences tracked over 7,000 observations across 70 dogs and 37 different breeds over 2 years. Under calm magnetic conditions, those dogs consistently aligned their bodies along the north-south axis when they relieved themselves. When the magnetic field was disturbed by solar activity, the pattern disappeared completely. A separate study published in the journal eLife tracked hunting dogs released in forests they'd never been in. The dogs ran a short burst along the north-south line before heading home. Researchers called it a compass run. They were calibrating their internal sensor before choosing a direction. The molecule behind this is called cryptochrome 1. It sits in the retina, the same molecule migrating birds use to see magnetic fields. It reacts to the Earth's magnetic field when activated by light. Your dog doesn't just know where home is, they see the direction. Tonight, watch them circle outside. That ritual has been guided by a compass built into their eyes since the day they were born. Number 13. They know the sound of your car from every other car on the street. Every car engine produces a slightly different acoustic frequency. The differences are tiny, a few hertz here and there. Your ears blur them all together into general traffic noise. Your dog doesn't. Dogs discriminate between frequencies with a precision that puts human hearing to shame. They can detect the difference between 2 tones separated by just 1/8 of a musical note. So when your car is still a block away and your dog is already at the window, it's because they've memorized the exact frequency signature of your engine. No other car on your street sounds the same to them, not even close. It's not magic. It's a filing system built out of sound, and your car has its own folder. Number 14. They can hear your heartbeat speed up from across the room. Someone rings your doorbell. Your pulse bumps up by 10 or 15 beats per minute. You barely notice. Your dog does. Their hearing is sensitive enough to detect your heart rate changing from the other side of the living room. When your chest speeds up because you're nervous, or slows down as you drift towards sleep, they register the shift as it happens. Not after, during. When a stranger walks in and you tighten up, your dog picks up the change in your chest rhythm and adjusts their own response to match. They're syncing to a signal you didn't know you were broadcasting. And that brings us to the last one, the one that ties every single thing on this list together. What their eyes and ears are really doing when all of it is pointed at the same person. Number 15. They see and hear a version of you that you've never met. Every ability on this list, the ultrasonic hearing that fills your silent house with sound, the infrared vision that reads your body heat in the dark, the eyes that catch your smallest movement from behind, the ears that track your heartbeat, your car engine, the weather, and the ground shifting beneath your feet. All of it runs constantly, and all of it is aimed at you. Your dog has built a portrait of who you are using light you can't see and sound you can't hear. They know what your heat signature looks like when you walk into a room. They know the rhythm of your heart when you're calm versus when you're upset. They recognize your silhouette in pitch darkness and the frequency of your engine from a block away. They see your intent in a hand movement you didn't think twice about. You have never seen or heard yourself the way your dog does. Tonight, when they look at you from across the room and you can't figure out what they want, now you know. They don't want anything. They're watching. They're listening. They're reading you in a language built from light and sound that your body was never equipped to speak. That night they wouldn't leave your side. That morning they kept watching you from across the kitchen. That time they stared at you from the foot of the bed and wouldn't look away. That wasn't clinginess. That wasn't boredom. That was every sense they have picking up something different about you. something their eyes and ears caught that yours never could. If they could put it into words, it would sound something like this. Something looks different about you today. Something sounds different. I don't know what changed, but I'm staying right here until it passes. And that is something they've been telling you every single day of their life. That moment from this morning. Your dog frozen in the living room, eyes locked on a corner you couldn't see anything in. That had nothing to do with being strange. They were doing what they've always done. Watching, listening, seeing and hearing things about you and your world that you were never built to detect. Every single one of these 15 things was a window into a world you share, but will never see or hear. And now you know what's on the other side of it. You are their everything. If you want to keep learning what your dog is really telling you, click the video on screen right now.